Suspicious death investigation underway following a gruesome discovery on the shores of Lake Michigan.
Someone found a severed leg in Cudahy's Warnemont Park. 12 News' Hannah Hilliard is there right now.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another deep dive into one of the most disturbing cases to come out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's a case that will make your skin crawl. It's a case that shows us just how dangerous the world of online dating can be. And it's a case about a young woman who lost her life far too young and far too brutally. Buckle up, this is going to be a tough one. It's April 2nd, 2024, and two friends are taking what they believe to be a peaceful evening stroll along the shores of Cudahy, Wisconsin, near Warnemont Park. At first glance, it looked like driftwood. You know, at the Great Lakes, all kind of debris washes up on shore. Branches, logs, pieces of old boats, random junk that's been floating around for who knows how long. Nothing unusual about that. But something about this particular piece just didn't look right. Maybe it's the shape. Maybe it's the color. Maybe the gut instincts that told them something just wasn't right. So they go closer. And at that moment, at exactly 5:29 p.m. on April 2nd, they realize they weren't staring at driftwood at all. It was a human leg. A real human leg, severed, lying there on the beach like some grotesque piece of evidence from a horror movie. But this wasn't a movie, folks. This is real life. And this discovery is about to launch one of Milwaukee's most disturbing criminal investigations in recent memory. Within minutes, the shoreline is now swarming with law enforcement. Police from the Cudahy Department, officers from the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office, everyone rushing to secure what has suddenly become a crime scene. At 5400 South Lake Drive, the leg has been discovered, 2/3 of the way down a steep 100-foot bluff right at the water's edge. It's a right leg belonging to a black female, severed cleanly just below the hip socket. The toenails are painted pink, a small, heartbreaking detail that reminds you this belonged to a real person. But there was one noticeable feature. The flesh was still intact, with little to no signs of decomposition, which means that this was fresh, very fresh. We're talking hours, not days. The cuts were clean, sharp, precise. The femur had been partially sawn through, suggesting someone used a bladed tool with surgical precision. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't an animal attack. This was intentional. Deputy Leon Martin interviews one of the witnesses.
Okay, Evan. How long were you out here?
About probably an hour.
An hour?
Yeah.
Okay.
About 16.
You usually come this way?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's going
The
to
first
be
time you seen
Marco.
anything here?
Yeah.
Yeah? It's the first time you seen anything like this?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. All right, Evan. Just hang tight. Don't go anywhere, okay?
Yeah.
However, it wasn't these statements that led to a breakthrough in the case. No, that would arrive by nearby surveillance footage from nearby Cudahy High School. The footage showed someone at Warnemont Park in the early hours of April 2nd. At 2:53 a.m., a vehicle drives into the park. The vehicle rams through a locked gate like it's made of paper. The debris found at the scene later matches a Honda Civic. So now we know the kind of car we're looking for. At 3:02 a.m., a shadowy figure appears on camera, walking down the bluff towards the lake. For the next hour and a half, this figure moves back and forth between the shoreline and a nearby pump house road. What were they doing for 90 minutes in the middle of the night by a lake? What kind of work takes that long in complete darkness? At 4:31 a.m., the vehicle exits the park. Whatever happened during those 90 minutes, it ended up with a human leg washing up on the shore just a few hours later. Dr. Lauren Decker, the medical examiner, examines their remains. Based on the size of the leg, she estimates the victim was about 5 feet tall. Multiple saw marks found on the bone was further confirmation that this was intentional dismemberment. So, we have a severed right leg belonging to a petite black female, a suspicious vehicle that broke into the park in the middle of the night, a mysterious figure caught on camera, and evidence of deliberate dismemberment. But we still don't know exactly who this leg belongs to. The answer comes faster than anyone expected. Just hours before the leg is discovered, at 7:32 a.m. on April 2nd, Milwaukee firefighters are racing to a car fire on the city's north side. By the time they arrive, the flames have consumed everything, but there's still enough to trace the vehicle back to its owner. The vehicle is a 2020 Honda Civic, Wisconsin plates ASP 1171. And that happened to be the same car that broke through the gates of Warnemont Park just a few hours earlier. And the owner of this car, a 19-year-old college student named Sade Robinson. And that evening at 9 p.m., Sade is officially reported missing by a friend identified only as AJ. The friend goes to Milwaukee Police District 5 after failing to reach Sade all day. Sade hasn't answered her phone, she hasn't showed up for work, and she hasn't responded to texts. For someone known to be reliable, this is completely out of character. Investigators immediately turn to Sade's social media for answers. Her last known location, Duke's on Water, a popular bar. She posted a Snapchat there on the night of April 1st. On April 3rd, Officer Norla Burlow conducts a welfare check at Sade's apartment, Unit 309. No one answers, no signs of Sade. But building staff tell police something interesting. Sade had been excited about a first date she was going on that night. She was looking forward to it, the way anyone would be excited about meeting someone new. That same morning, Sade had FaceTimed her mother before heading to work at Pizza Shuttle. It would be the last time her mother would see Sade alive. She was last seen wearing a black puffy coat, a white shirt, light blue ripped jeans, and white shoes. Just a normal outfit for a normal day that would turn out to be anything but normal. To piece together her final hours, investigators turned to the one thing in the digital world that we're always present on, our phones. And buried within the data, the call logs, location pings, and text messages, one conversation jumps out like a neon sign. It's with a number Sade had been texting just hours before her disappearance. 262-416-4874, the number that would be the ultimate clue for this case. The exchange begins at 4:15 p.m. and ends just after 5:18 p.m. on April 1st. Reading through these messages is like watching the setup for a first date. The kind of conversation that happens thousands of times every day across the country. But this conversation would be Sade's last. Sade says, "Where are we meeting? I can do 5. The number says, downtown somewhere? Brat House on 3rd? Sade, perfect. The number, okay, I'm going to shower quick. I'll probably get there more around 5:15. Are you hungry? I need to stop at the Twisted Fisherman to pick up my W-2 from last year. We could eat there first." Sade replies, "Okay, and yes. Are we eating at the Brat House or the other place?" The number says, "Let's eat at Twisted. I'm feeling seafood." Sade, "Yes, I love seafood." "Sounds good. I'm about to leave. I'll be there soon." The number confirms that they got to Twisted. Sade says, "Okay, are you inside?" They confirm. And that's it. That's the last known conversation from Sade Robinson's phone. Detective Vandertye runs that number through the law enforcement databases. The name comes back quickly. Maxwell S. Anderson. The same man Sade had been excited to meet for a first date. The man she'd been texting about seafood and dinner plans. The man who was supposed to be just another chapter in her young life. Instead, he may have been the one who had ended it. But to understand exactly what happened on April 1st, detectives would need more than just text messages. They needed to make a picture of the actual encounter. They needed surveillance footage. Detective John Gilliott with the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office reviews videos from Twisted Fisherman. Not only does it confirm the text messages, but also the movements that day. At 5:09 p.m., Maxwell Anderson walks into the Twisted Fisherman from the west. His face is clearly captured on the exterior camera. He looks like any other customer coming in for the diner. At 5:20 p.m., Sade Robinson arrives from the east and walks up to the bar. She sits down next to him. She's wearing her black puffy coat, white shirt, light blue ripped jeans and white shoes. She looks happy, maybe a little nervous, the way anyone would be on a first date. For the next hour and 15 minutes, from 5:09 to 6:24 p.m., the two are seen eating, drinking, and talking. To anyone watching, they look like exactly what they are, two young people on a first date. At 6:24 p.m., they leave together, heading east, the same direction that Sade had come from. There are no cameras in the parking lot, but they're seen leaving together. Sade is seen walking out of the restaurant, willingly, with a man she just met. Unfortunately, she has no idea that she's walking towards her own demise. Sade's phone showed her location through the Life 360 app, a location sharing app that she used with her friends and family. It just happened to be that on April 3rd, a friend named ASF is watching the news about a missing woman. Something about the story feels familiar, so she opens the Life 360 to check on Sade's location. And that's when she found out. This was likely Sade. Sade's last known location, Warnemont Park, at 4:33 a.m. on April 2nd. That same park where the severed leg was found, the full Life 360 timeline. It showed that after they left the restaurant, they traveled to Duke's on the Water. And then at 7:04 to 9:06 p.m., they were stationary at Duke's on the Water. 2 hours at this bar. From 9:06 to 9:28 p.m., they traveled to Anderson's residence. From 9:28 to 12:48 a.m., they were stationary at Anderson's home. Over 3 hours. And then from 12:48 to 1:38 a.m., they traveled to Pleasant Valley Park, where they remained stationary from 1:38 to 2:01 a.m. 23 minutes stationary at that park overnight. And from 2:01 to 2:53, they traveled to Warnemont Park, where they were stationary and where the leg was later found when the phone battery dies. It's hard to pinpoint exactly when Sade was alive and when she passed away, but what is likely is the phone was with her the entire time until the battery died. On April 4th, the police execute a search warrant at Maxwell Anderson's residence. Inside, they find packages and mail confirming he lived there, but they also find something far more sinister. Evidence. Red stains on the bedding in one of the bedrooms, red stains on the walls leading down to the basement, red stains in the garage, and containers of gasoline, the kind you might use to burn a car. According to the reports, officers also discovered what they describe as a sex dungeon, complete with a sling, restraints, and handcuffs. The kind of setup that suggests that Maxwell Anderson had some very dark interest. Investigators scoured surveillance footage near where Sade's car was found, and there he was, a man matching Anderson's build, walking near Lisbon Avenue, her burning Honda visible in the background. After torching the vehicle, he casually boarded a bus, leaving the flames in his wake. In their attempt to reconstruct what happened at Maxwell's apartment, they found that they both watched Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix. And the final episode of Season 2, it features a dismembered corpse washing up on a beach. Was this a coincidence? Or was Maxwell Anderson already planning what he was going to do, and he was inspired by this show? We may never know for certain. Investigators also recovered photos from Maxwell's phone showing a woman lying face down on his couch at his home, wearing the same cream-colored sweater Sade had on when she went missing. In the photo, a hand is seen gripping the woman's exposed breast. Notably, Sade's recovered torso was missing her right breast. However, the red stains identified at Maxwell's house were not linked to Sade. At 1:16 p.m. on April 4th, Maxwell Anderson is pulled over during a traffic stop near 38th Street and Lakefield Drive, just blocks from his house. He's taken into custody without incident. Days after Sade's right leg was discovered, more body parts would show up. On April 6th, a human foot and tissue near train tracks. Maxwell Anderson didn't just kill Sade, he scattered her remains around the city like trash. On April 9th, 2024, Maxwell Stephen Anderson appears in court for the first time. A judge orders him held for 72 more hours while they wait DNA results to confirm what everyone already knows. Sade Robinson's family are grief-stricken, but they refuse to just sit by and let everyone investigate. So they go out to Warnemont Park themselves, and on that same day, they discover what looked like a human bone. Even in their grief, they were fighting for Sade and making sure she's brought home, even if it's multiple body parts. On April 12th, Anderson is officially charged with first-degree intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse, and arson. He was held on $5 million bail and pleaded not guilty. Between April 18th, when additional body parts were found along Lake Michigan's shoreline in South Milwaukee, and May 11th, a right arm was discovered in Waukegan, Illinois. Over 40 miles south, more human remains surfaced. On May 19th, 2024, Milwaukee Area Technical College holds its graduation ceremony. Among the graduates is Sade Robinson, who receives her posthumous degree in criminal justice. Her family accepts this degree on her behalf. She was only 19 years old, and she was set to graduate just days after her 20th birthday. She was supposed to have a career fighting crime, not becoming a victim of it. The irony is heartbreaking. Sade's family is also suing the two bars she visited, Twisted Fisherman and Dukes on Water. Because Sade wasn't 21, she should never have been served alcohol. In US, that is illegal. And her family says this made her more susceptible for what would happen next. On May 27, 2025, jury selection begins in Maxwell Anderson's trial. On June 6, 2025, the jury reaches their verdict. It took them only 36 minutes for the jury to convict him on all counts: first-degree intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse, arson, and hiding a corpse, a charge that was added during the trial. On August 1st, 2025, Anderson was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. Maxwell Anderson will spend the rest of his life in prison, never again be able to hurt another innocent person.
I am the mother of Sade. I've raised my daughters. We are light worker people. We are very angelic individuals. For us to even be here, I'm going to have to ask. I wanted to go before my daughter because I need her to be protected by this heavy demonic energy that is residual in this courtroom, this devil and his entire demonic family in this courtroom. It's very heavy to where I can't even talk. But Your Honor, I am asking that everyone in this courtroom be protected through the white light by this devil that sits beside. My daughter referred to you as a man. You will never be a fucking man. You're a pussy-ass bitch.
Ms. Scarborough, if you could direct your comments to me, please.
I would like to start by saying that from the bottom of my heart, my deepest and most sincere condolences go out to Sade's family, as well as everyone else affected by this tragedy. That being said, Your Honor, I took this to trial without ever once trying to make a plea deal of any kind, because I did not commit these crimes. And so I plan to appeal my convictions, while I hope and pray that further investigations not only prove my innocence, but find and deliver true justice.
Maxwell Anderson maintains his innocence. Some argue the case is circumstantial, but the evidence against him is strong. His ex-girlfriend led police to his secret spot, the same shoreline where Sade Robinson's leg was found. And just weeks before her death, Maxwell allegedly told someone he planned to kill and dismember someone. The exact motive was unclear, but Maxwell had struggled with violent thoughts for some time. Maxwell Stephen Anderson, born in 1990, had a long and documented history of violence, instability, and run-ins with the law. His record stretched back a decade: disorderly conduct, criminal damage to property, intimidating a witness, battery, and 2 DUIs. In 2020, he bought a duplex on South 39th Street, the same place Sade was last seen alive. On the night of April 1st, something inside him shifted, and he took Sade's life, likely by strangulation or stabbing, as penetration wounds were found on the torso, though no one knows for certain. What's most difficult to understand is that Maxwell went through with it, even knowing Sade's location could be traced. It makes you wonder what drove him to such an irreversible act. Sade Robinson was not just a victim. She was a fighter, a survivor, and a beacon of hope. At just 19, she balanced 2 jobs and pursued a criminal justice degree, determined to build a better future despite a past of hardship and abuse. Her strength, resilience, and spirit inspired everyone who knew her. Her life was stolen by Maxwell Steven Anderson, but Sade's story didn't end with tragedy. It sparked a movement. Milwaukee came together to remember her through vigils, memorials, fundraising, and the creation of Sade's Voice Foundation. Her legacy now fuels a mission to protect and uplift Black and brown girls, ensuring her strength and voice live on far beyond her years. Sade was building a life worth fighting for, and in justice and remembrance, that life endures.